things Astros with your hosts, sports writer Jeff Balke and Astros broadcaster and former third baseman Jeff Blum. Now, here's Balke and Blummer.
What is up, Astros fans? Welcome to episode 72 of the Believe in Astros podcast on the Believe Podcasting Network. I'm Jeff Balke alongside my partner Jeff Blum, who must be enjoying the homestand at this point after a long, well, you didn't have quite as long a roadie as everybody else did, but still you must be enjoying being in H-Town for a little while, right?
No, always do. But at the same time, you know, when you have the road trip coming up, well, you just got off a road trip where I was in Oakland. And then you have a road trip coming up where you have to go to Cleveland. Yeah, you know, you do enjoy Houston a little bit more.
You go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You can hit that up while you're in Cleveland.
I don't want to, man. It's good, but it's not as good as I felt like it could have been.
Oh, I'm sure. Are you kidding?
Have you ever been?
I've never been. And
okay.
It's run by Jan Wenner from Rolling Stone, so you know it's going to be total garbage. I'm going to get off on a. I'm going to get off on a far. I'm going to get way off on a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rant in a minute.
That's how I feel about it, because I mean, they could have. I feel like there could have been more or something.
I've heard it's
a little
kind
more
of
entertaining.
chintzy. I've heard it's kind of chintzy, which wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. By the way, I see you with your sweet Bleacher Blum's lid. I got to get me one of those. That is nice.
Yeah, I've got a good buddy at ramshirts.com that can hook you up.
Nice.
But it turned out good. I don't wear it often enough, to be honest with you.
It's pretty sweet. That's nice. I like it. So I have a little story for you before we get going, because you've lived with many women in your house for a long time. And so the other night, my wife and a couple of her friends we were all having dinner. We're getting ready to have dinner. They were in the backyard hanging out. And I was in the front yard because we had a handyman here who was fixing our sprinklers. This is very boring information. Anyway, I'm in the front and I hear what appears to me to be a horror film coming from the backyard. I mean, I've never heard such blood-curdling screams in my entire life. So I go run back, and I hear my wife yelling my dog's name, and I'm like, oh, no, did he bite somebody? Like, what's going on? I get back there. My dog is my oldest dog, Frankie, who's a pit bull and just the best dog ever, was literally ripping a rat snake to pieces.
Oh, wow.
In the backyard. Like a pretty good, a juvenile, but nevertheless, a pretty, like maybe 2.5, 3 feet long. I mean, a pretty decent sized rat snake, which are honestly, rat snakes are good. You know, they kill rats after all. But he had literally snapped it in half. He was covered in blood. His face is covered. My wife freaked out so hard. They all freaked out and started running towards the house and screaming.
That's a lot to take in.
It is. And my wife, on her run to try and get in the house, actually ran straight into the pool. And so I kept imagining it was like Wile E. Coyote, you know, running off the cliff and then looking down and holding up the little sign that says oops, you know. But anyway, so if you're just beware, it's springtime and we're in a suburb. We're not like, you know, we're in Oak Forest. We're not exactly, you know, out in the sticks. Snakes exist. Just saying.
Hey, Houston. We know Houston is one of the most diverse cities, both in humanity and as far as animals and wildlife.
That is absolutely right. Hey, there are beavers in Buffalo Bayou. So if there are beavers in Buffalo Bayou, then you can absolutely have a rat snake in your backyard. I'm just saying. And honestly, don't kill them. Now, if your dog kills them, then do what I did. Put them in shovel them up and toss them over the fence.
Yeah, we've got green space out here, and we actually have a lake in front of our house. But I mean, I come home, there's possums, raccoons, rabbits, every kind of bird. I mean, it's like a bird sanctuary out here, ducks. Yes. But we have a Catahoula leopard dog, and she has successfully captured 4 bunnies. 2 have been saved, 2 have not been.
So, that's got to be trauma. I'm sure.
Oh, man. I've got a great picture. I should show it to you someday. Just 2 little bunny feet sticking out of her mouth. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, drop. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, this snake had no chance. I mean, we've never actually witnessed my dog catch anything and murder it other than toys. But
Hey, that instinct.
He's capable. Let's just put it that way.
There you go.
He is absolutely capable. So snakes beware. Stay out of my yard. Just saying. I would stay out of my yard if I were you. Okay. Now, with that having been said, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, of course, on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe to keep up with us. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Believe in Astros. Find me at Jeff Balke and Blummer at Blummer27 all over social media. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel because it's awesome. And thanks to everybody who's given us 5 stars on Apple. Keep doing that. Give us reviews. I'll take the feedback. I had some, I don't know if you saw the Stros Bros. I'm going to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
Said they've been listening and they really enjoy it. So kudos to them. They're in Nashville. God help them. But they might get a baseball team soon. Just saying. I hope they don't switch allegiance. That's all I'm going to say.
Follow the money.
We do love seeing all your comments. By the way, here's one. Has Blummer ever posted a 20 over par on a single hole?
Oh, no. God, no.
Well,
dear God, no.
I'll explain why I asked you that question in a few minutes here.
I pick up and meet you on the next tee.
Exactly. All right. So the ups and downs continue for the Astros. Obviously, kind of a tough loss in the series to the Twins, but comeback yesterday. Honestly, kind of a gutsy effort yesterday, considering the fact that they were throwing Ronel Blanco out there, his first ever major league start. He goes 5 1/3, I think, or at least 5, I know, before the bullpen came in and almost predictably shut it down the rest of the way. How big is it we've talked about how they need a 6-man rotation for this 17 days in a row. How big is it that Ronel Blanco is able to come in there? I mean, he threw close to 90 pitches, I think, or maybe a little over 90 pitches. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it was just over 90. And, talking to a couple of coaches before the game and understanding where those bullpen's at and understanding that they're in the middle of the 17 game in a row stretch, in getting Ronel Blanco, you said, if he can give us 5, great. If he could give us a little bit more, we'd really appreciate it, just because you start to back up that bullpen a little bit. But what he did is exactly what you expect that 5th or 6th guy to do in your rotation. Now, in years past, that 5th or 6th guy's been a Christian Javier or a Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy. So now you're starting to see that shift in the rotation where some of those other guys are becoming regular, and then you need the Ronel Blancos. And oddly enough, Todd Callis, my partner, brought up an amazing number. So that Ronel Blanco at 29 years old is barely the oldest guy in the rotation, yet he made his first big league start last night. So kind of interesting to know that this rotation is young, very strong. And Ronel Blanco went out there, like I said, and did exactly what you expect of him. Give me 5, keep us in it, allow our offense to come back and win this ball game and give you enough run support. They did. He gets the dub. The Astros bullpen, like you said, went in shutdown mode from that 5th inning on. Yeah. And it was pretty impressive, but a good team win all the way around to support Ronel.
Yeah, agreed. And I think with Ronel, too, what was great about him is, he didn't try to do too much. He did what he does. Walked, I think, 3, had a few strikeouts, kept the ball in play a lot, a lot of ground ball outs for him. He just looked like a guy that was – he didn't look like a guy that was out there going through, like nervous or trying to, didn't look like his first start. Obviously, at 29, he's been around a little bit. But having a guy, because he's a guy that could contribute to you later down the road. You get down the road, if he has a few good starts here or whatever, get some confidence. He's a guy we talked about, a long reliever out of the bullpen. He's another one of those guys. Look, and let's be honest, the bullpen, we kind of talked about it a little bit last time because, they had a little bit of failing there with the blowout, with Presley giving up the blown save and all that, and Jose Abreu Brian Abreu looking pedestrian, let's say. But man, as usual, they just came out there and here comes Hector Neris. Again, gave up a walk and then, had the bases loaded and just took everybody out. And then everybody else, including Rafael Montero, which was great to see. Just a really, really excellent outing again for the bullpen. They're really saving this team.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Dusty's able to give some of those guys days off because you've got, with Ronel Blanco being inserted into this rotation, you have to remove somebody from that bullpen. So now you're down to a 7-man bullpen. Right. And what's great, even though you have some guys that maybe have pitched a little bit more than you'd like, the Phil Matons, some of these other guys, and you can't go to them in a certain situation, you have plenty of guys out there because there's about six, if not all 7 guys have been pitching really well. Even Seth Martinez, even though he gave up a run the other day, has done a good job of eating up innings and coming in and being competitive. But the fact that Abreu came out after that pedestrian outing that you're talking about and was absolutely pissed off. He was throwing 99 miles an hour. And if you're going to see flashes of that, and you will see that guy in the postseason because in a 162 game season, you got to pace yourself a little bit. But it was kind of fun to see that angry Brian Abreu go out there and deal. And then obviously Ryan Presley's been closing out games at a pretty good pace too.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy we've seen, we saw Parker Mashinsky have some struggles, but I think I want to bring him up just a little bit because what I thought what he did the other night was kind of yeoman's work. Like he gave up the runs but it was kind of one of those games where it didn't look like the offense was going to come through and he just had to take it. You know what I mean? Like he just had to take it. Dusty wasn't going to pull him out of there. It was like, listen, you're just going to have to get out of the inning. And, he did. And I mean, he didn't have a good outing, but sometimes you need those kind of outings in a game where you're just like, okay, this guy's not pitching well, but he's just going to go ahead and stay in. We're going to have to probably take the L with this. And then, we'll move on, but we're not going to blow up our bullpen, to try and save somebody again. And I thought, I hate, it feels terrible to watch the guy in there just like flailing, but he got out of it finally. And, and I think that was a good thing for the Astros bullpen to be able to say, okay, we're not going to have to worry about bringing in a bunch of guys.
No, I mean, he's the human reset button, and I mean, when you look at this bullpen and you point to a guy who's going to eat the innings and wear it, it's going to be Parker Mashinsky, unfortunately. And he went out there and did that, ate up about 2 2/3, and kind of pushed back the situation with the bullpen. Seth Martinez came in after him and gave a multi-inning outing. So you need those guys to go out there and kind of chew things up a little bit and take it on the chin, so to speak. The numbers aren't going to dictate that you pitched well, but there's going to be a lot of respect in that clubhouse.
No, I agree with you 100%. Interesting note is that the offense obviously looked pretty good yesterday. First of all, who is this Joyce kid that's throwing 103 or whatever? My goodness. Like 103 consistent. I don't think he threw a pitch under 100 miles an hour.
He didn't.
When he's up there, he just came in there and just throwing gas. My Lord.
Yeah, I call guys like him a seat comforter because it makes my seat very comfortable watching him pitch because I don't have to face him. But this is a guy. This guy played with Drew Gilbert at the University of Tennessee, and I remember vividly a year ago when Tennessee's in the in a super regional or whatever they were doing last season, and I'm watching highlights and I'm showing it to Todd. I was showing it to TK. I said, "Man, check this dude out!" And all of a sudden, he's buggy whipping 105 mile an hour fastballs, and I'm going, "Dude, this guy's unbelievable!" And next thing you know, the Angels draft him in the 3rd round. He had Tommy John surgery, so there's question marks around that arm. But if you can catch lightning in a bottle for a couple of years at 103 to 105 miles an hour, why not take that chance? And that's actually very smart, very astute pick by the Angels because their back into the bullpen is really what's been causing issues for them winning games late.
Yeah, and what is with that delivery? My goodness.
Dude, he's got that 3/4 arm angle and that ball's running to the arm side. Forget it, man.
It's just so weird. And he had good control last night. I mean, it wasn't like he was flailing all over the place. Very impressive. Not a guy I don't want to look. I've never stood in a box with a 100-mile-an-hour pitch coming past me. I assume that it would be grounds for me to perhaps wet my pants if it happened. But 105, good Lord. I don't even want to drive 105 miles an hour, let alone see a baseball coming at me.
Yeah. No, I faced Billy Wagner, who's throwing 99 to 100 consistently. And then a young Ubaldo Jimenez, when he came up with Colorado, I got a base hit on 101 miles an hour. And I really don't ever want to do that again.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, I got jammed a little bit. I got jammed and kind of forced it into left field, but there was no way I was getting the head out on it. Woo.
Youch. All right. One note, a little bit about offense here is I just saw Alex Bregman. We're finally starting to see Alex Bregman become Alex Bregman. Mm-hmm. The early season swoon, and in fact, Chandler Rome, our buddy, wrote a story about it today in The Athletic. I also saw on Twitter I think it was this morning, from the Astros locker. In 16 games since May 15th, he has a 931 OPS with 3 homers and 15 RBIs. His OPS has finally climbed up around 720. He's normally an 850 guy, somewhere in there. So he said he kind of worked it. He's a big mechanics guy, I know. Mm-hmm. He said one of the things he did was put the bat on his shoulder instead of holding it up around his ear. I don't know what in the hell that would do. But, look, Bregman's looked really good lately. Have you seen anything from him other than just, is he swinging better? Like, what have you seen?
Just personally, I'm not his hitting coach, and I'm just I'm an observer just like everybody else. But I know that when his stride gets a little bit long and he has like hang time on that front leg, and it doesn't get down in time, he's late. You talked about the bat being on the shoulders. There's I think the term is getting slotted, and you want to get that swing in a slot to get through the zone the way you want to. And he's a big slot guy, and I think that's why he's adjusted his hands a little bit to get into that slot a little bit quicker, to get to some of those pitches. So the stride has been shortened a little bit. The hands are in a better position to fire. And I think that, in 2019, I had a great conversation with him when he was said, I'm going to get on top of the plate. I'm going to lift to the pull side. And he became very successful because it's tough for a lot of the pitchers these days to pitch inside. And he kind of eliminates that and makes it even tougher by being on top of the plate. He's got a short, quick stroke, powerful swing getting through the zone. And you start to turn that middle pitch to an inside pitch, that outside pitch to a middle pitch, and you can start pulling with a little more authority to that pull side. And that's exactly what he's done. And it looked a little bit like he was closer to home plate in last night's ball game. So maybe that's some of the adjustments he's making. But whatever he's doing, it's paying off. And not to mention, moving him in between Alvarez and Tucker has been beneficial too.
Yes, 100%. I think that's a great call. We talked about that maybe last week where we said we felt like Abreu has probably needed to move down. Now, Abreu's been getting some wood on the ball for sure. Now, it hasn't always been paying off for him. He had a big double last night, but he's been getting definitely some better barrel on the baseball. I do want to ask you, everybody talks about Bregman having a short swing. I hear that all the time. Can you kind of explain what that means to the average person? Like what a short swing is?
It's just getting into the zone quickly. You don't want to have a lot of action behind your swing. There's loading, there's all kinds of things. And what I mean is when you get that foot down, how quickly can you get in the zone? And the comment has always been short to contact, long through contact. And that's how you create backspin. That's how you create a little length or extra exit velocity and good launch angle. And that's basically just all it is. How quickly can I get to the baseball? Because this day and age with everybody throwing 95 plus, it's borderline crazy to think about trying to get wood on a bullet, basically. But these guys are good enough to do it. But that's the idea, is just be as quick as possible to the contact point. What's remarkable to me is how they turn on it. Like, that's remarkable to me. It's like, it's one thing to hit a baseball, to foul one off or whatever, or to hit one the opposite way, getting to it late. But to actually turn on a pitch, I mean, that tells me what you're seeing coming out of the guy's hand, your knowledge of the game, all that is really all coming into play. It's been very impressive for Bregman. I hope it's turning around for Jose Abreu too. It feels a little bit like it is. At least he's making better contact. No, I haven't checked the numbers, but it feels like the barrel rate's going up. It feels like the exit velo's getting back there a little bit. He shot a ball the other way, that went foul, but it would have been an opposite field home run if it was 3 feet further to the left. So, it does feel like things are coming around a little bit with that exit velocity. And the more, you're not going to see the results sometimes, but if you feel like you're making better contact, usually that builds some confidence. So hopefully that's trending in the right direction. Today we get Shohei Ohtani versus Yordan Alvarez. I mean, that is getting
By the way, tonight I'm going to be having dinner at Killen's in Cyprus with some in-laws.
Damn, dude, have some burnt ends for me.
I know, and that game will be on. So believe me, I will be. I mean, Ohtani Yordan is just that's the kind of that's exactly what I want to see. Like, you know what? Let's put these guys out there and let them have at it. Obviously, Framber on the mound, which is great for the Astros because Framber has been great. And let me just say this about Framber Valdez. If you create a T-shirt with your face on it and you wear it to the game and then give it out to all your teammates, you are king. End of story. You are the coolest guy in the history of cool guys. That is something.
Yeah, and you know, he's got that swag. He's got that personality. He backs it up. So why not hand that thing out and have a little bit of fun with it? Obviously, the guys in the clubhouse thoroughly enjoy, what Framber brings to the table. We know about the speaker truck. We know about the cooler that's got the speakers.
Right.
I mean, this dude is nothing but a good time. But it's kind of funny. You know, other people, you're like, damn, dude, this guy's kind of cocky and self-centered, bringing out T-shirts of his own, but at the same time, he just wants everybody in on the party. That's all he wants.
That's exactly
he's
right.
The DJ. He's the BYOB guy. He's going to bring the costumes. He's going to be like, let's have a good time, boys. But this matchup has happened earlier in the season for Framber with Shohei out in Anaheim, and he dominated the situation.
That's right. He
went out and punched out 12 Angels in 8 innings and gave up 1 earned run compared to Shohei Ohtani's 3. So if we get a rematch like this, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh man, Grasa. He is just out there. He is. I have so much. Like, I don't find that to be like cocky. I just find it to be awesome. Like, if I could walk around with T-shirts of my face on them, I absolutely would do it because it's just hilarious. I mean, who does that, right? I remember in 40-Year-Old Virgin, there's a scene where Paul Rudd is wearing a T-shirt with his face on it, and the way I remember seeing the outtakes of that, or the behind the scenes, and he said that they said, hey, we want you to wear a T-shirt in this, you can have your choice of all these ones, and he said somebody had just randomly printed like a picture of his face on a T-shirt. He goes, that's it, that's the one. It's like, it's just pure gold. I love it. I love it. So we're a third of the way through the season now. I thought we might talk about some good moments, some bad moments, see kind of where we're at. I'm wondering what the biggest pleasant surprise player has been for you this year out of all the guys that have been out there.
One? I don't know if you can pick just one.
I know, right?
I mean, Hunter Brown has shown flashes of brilliance, which has been fun to watch. Corey Julks has done a phenomenal job. Mauricio Dubon has done a phenomenal job. Jake Myers is probably my biggest surprise. Not that I expected Corey Julks to be who he is. I love who Corey Julks has become. He's played above competent left field, especially here at Minute Maid Park with some of the quirks that are out there. Like I said, Hunter Brown's got the phenomenal stuff and he's developing. But Jake Myers, for me, there's a lot of questions. Does he have the confidence? Is he as good as everybody anticipated him being? Because all of his statistics and peripherals data said that he should be a better ball player, and he's starting to show it. So Jake Myers might be at the top of the list for me.
Yeah, I picked JP France. I picked the mustache because who saw this guy coming? Like, I mean, what a crazy thing.
It is crazy, and I don't know if you've gone through the numbers.
I haven't,
but let's take a peek at it real quick because through 5 starts, he's thrown exactly 27 innings and has a 4.0 ERA. If you go down to Luis Garcia, who's out with Tommy John surgery now, who basically he replaced, Garcia threw 27 innings. Guess what his ERA was?
I'm going to guess it had to be in the right around 4.
It was exactly 4. So you haven't missed a beat by having JP France in there. He's done a great job. He
really has. And it's just been cool to watch because, this is a guy who obviously, I don't think he wasn't on anybody's radar, and here he is doing
He's the one that answered the call.
Yes. 100%.
Dubin went on the injured list in AAA, and Forrest Whitley had something wrong, and then JP was like, "Hey, I'm right here," and he showed up and he's done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about that with Forrest Whitley and Dubin, and Forrest Whitley was like, "Oh, my liver." All of a sudden, that was weird. So for me also, I look at my most pleasant surprise, not a player, right? And my first thought is, I just can't believe how the minor leagues keep churning up talent. Yeah. Like, this is supposed to be a terrible, well, not terrible, but it's supposed to be one of the bottom tier minor league systems. And yet here we are with JP France and with Corey Julks and with Yainer Diaz and with all these guys who are just coming up, and of course Hunter Brown, we can't forget. But I mean, it just continues to be remarkable, right? That out of seemingly nowhere, and I guess I say nowhere because I don't sit around staring at the minor leagues all day, but it really
none
does
of us can be Steve Sparks.
Exactly, Sparks. Yeah, that guy knows it all. It's just remarkable to me that's been how it's been going. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't imagine.
Well, you're in an organization where you don't need, 2 or 3 prospects to come up, and it's great to covet these guys, but the Astros are actually a team who continues to win and just needs a piece here, a piece there, and they come up and perform. But consider the environment you're putting them into, too. You're not expecting them to come up and be the guy or continue to have that prospect and give this team hope. You're just supposed to move in, play your game, and be a part of this organization and win. And I think that alleviates a lot of pressure on a lot of these guys.
Who do you think's been the best defensive player so far this year?
Jeremy Pena.
I 100% agree with you. I'm glad you called that. There's been some great plays in the outfield, and Myers and
Chaz has been phenomenal, man.
He's been great, but Jeremy Pena is just like a vacuum cleaner at short. I mean, the guy. He hasn't hit as well as last year, but defensively, he might be better than he was last year.
I was actually going to say he should be better. I think the metrics will actually benefit him even more than they did last year because you took away the shift and you're exposing the athleticism of a guy like Jeremy Pena. And what's gotten better for me with him is, yes, he's getting to baseballs. Yes, he's making the plays, but the arm looks amazing this year. For whatever reason, the footwork is great, and he's really starting to let that arm go a little bit, and we're seeing some strength. It's nice.
Man, he's been phenomenal. Who's your MVP so far?
I mean, how do you not say Yordan Alvarez? The dude's got close to 50 RBIs, and he hasn't gotten an RBI in the last 10 games, it feels like. So, he carried him the first month and a half. He's getting a little more support now, but he's about to break out because he's had, I think he's three for his last 30 or something crazy. He's really kind of been in this funk, but at the same time, he's close to breaking out. The guys as good as he is don't have these slumps for very long, and he's getting ready to unleash the fury.
Dude, when he was up against that flamethrower last night, I was like, dear God, if he hits this ball, it's never coming down. I'm like, it's never coming down if he hits it. I mean, that ball might end up in Galveston. Reversing the energy on a 102-mile-an-hour fastball like Yordan can would be epic. I can't even imagine. It'd be the natural. It'd be exploding lights in the outfield, that kind of thing. So who do you think has been the best pitcher out of both relievers and starters? Because I thought about this for a little bit, because to me, Framber obviously has been their best starter, and most consistent. But I mean, when you look at the pitching, there's some guys in there you could argue for in the relief among the relief corps for sure. Well, I mean, Phil Maton and Ryan Presley for me are probably the two guys. I know Press's his ERA may not be that electric number, but in those situations where you need him to close out games, he's been phenomenal. That would be really interesting, is to kind of peel back the games that he's saved and see those numbers. He's probably lights out, but it's hard to argue against Framber Valdez with everything he's done. And then of course, the silent assassin that comes out of that bullpen, just stoic and resting. What do we got? Resting Phil face, or whatever you want to call it. Phil Maton. Yeah, Phil Maton's been incredible. I didn't even think. I mean, I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't anticipate just obliteration. he reminds me like this year of everything all right?
Being assaulted. So for those at home or who are wondering, yes, we have an alarm on the house.
So don't go try and breaking into Blummer's house. There's going to be trouble. No. That's awesome, Blummer. Nice. With Phil Maton, man.
I'm just glad Phil Maton didn't come in after me right there. Jeez.
Right? He reminds me, the season he's having reminds me a little bit of the Chris Davinsky season. When he was throwing those, when he had the what did they call it? The change up, the circle of death, the circle change. That's right. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that season where like he's just come out and I mean, Phil Maton is terrifying in many ways, but especially on the mound, that guy's just been so good. Just so good on the mound. I love watching it. I think it's great, especially after last year, where a lot of people were like, well, he didn't have a great year. He broke his hand because he got mad at his brother, which is, just weird. But it's just that's a cool story because like we said before, he's a really good dude, and to have him go out there and just like pitch lights out is awesome. I got a couple of small things I kind of wanted to hit on with you before we get out of here. First, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is a story in The Athletic about the San Diego chicken that is absolutely spectacular. It is everything you could possibly. Apparently, this guy has never shown his face, ever.
Wow.
In fact, when he's been sued, he wore
shows up in court.
He wore a paper bag over his head in court.
I mean, that's dedication to the job right there.
And of course, it all started. He was at a radio station in San Diego. They wanted somebody to dress up in some paper mache costume. He did, thinking eventually he'd have an on-air broadcast career. That did not happen, but the Padres loved him so much they kept inviting him back. And over the years, he's fought all these battles to be able to win the rights to be the chicken, right? I mean, this if you have a few minutes, it's a long read. Honestly, go to The Athletic and read this story because it is amazing.
Yeah, no, he's turned that into quite the career, and he's just notorious as the San Diego chicken. I mean, and he's excellent at it. Yeah, kudos to him for sticking with the character. And
he's 70, by the way, now. So he's now he's talking about possibly passing it on. He's 70 years old. He's been doing this his whole damn life. He's next year will be his 50th year as the San Diego chicken. Can you imagine?
That's an old chicken. That's a seasoned chicken.
I was going to say, look, I'm just going to say that's a chicken you probably don't want to eat. Like that's going to be real tough. There's going to be a lot of gristle on that, but
yeah, there's gristle everywhere on that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So also I wanted to ask you if you have seen or played MLB Pickle, because so MLB Pickle is Wordle for baseball.
Oh, wow.
It is. So I don't play Wordle. Do you play Wordle?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't play it out of spite for a long time because everybody I knew was playing Wordle.
Well, I'm not going to post about it. Good Lord.
Right,
I play it my own time, but I'm not posting my stats for the love of Pete.
Come on, and everybody's like, are you playing Wordle? Are you playing Wordle?
Dude, I got it in three tries. Who cares?
Exactly. Well, apparently MLB Pickle is Wordle for baseball, except instead of words, you're trying to pick players. And so it's active players. And what they do is they give you certain things like their age. They won't tell you, but it's like age, throws right-handed or, throws right and left, hits right and left, the team they play for, the division they're in, all that kind of stuff. And so if you pick a player and then they'll light up green, whichever ones you got right. So I'm not going to lie that yesterday I got it in 3. Now, I needed a little bit of help to figure out who bats left-handed in Major League Baseball, because I didn't know all of them. Who am I? I'm not Steve Sparks over here. But anyway, MLB Pickle, kind of cool. I've seen a couple of people talking about it recently, jumping on that Wordle trend. So go out there and try out some MLB Pickle for yourself. Last thing, and this is what I brought up in the question about you hitting plus 20. So I don't know if you saw this. Chad Ramey he was on the 9th at Muirfield in the Memorial, and he posted a plus 13 at the 9th. He hit the water 3 times.
What is this, tin cup?
Exactly what I was thinking. Like, what are you doing, man? A plus 13. He was already plus 7 for the day. So he wasn't doing great. But I'm like, plus 13, bro? You're a professional golfer.
Fire your caddy, fire your swing coach, fire yourself, get a new club contract. I mean, if you're a professional, that shouldn't happen. That's like, I mean, if I struck out 20 times in a row, I'd be like, dude, okay, I think I might be done.
I mean, plus 13 at the 9th. I saw the graphic of it. It was one of those, where it shows where the balls all went, and it was just.
Did it have the puke emoji next to it? Like
it should have. It should have. And honestly, Blummers, I was reading it. I was just thinking about you going, I wonder what the worst hole Blummer was ever in, and was just like, I don't care. I'm moving on. Like, did you?
Oh,
have you ever?
If I get to like a double bogey, I pick up my golf ball and leave. I'm like, dude, what's the point?
Have you ever had one that just you never even made the green, and you're just like, oh, hell with it, I can't.
Oh no, I mean, I've gotten in the vicinity of the green, but once I've gotten on the green and I know it's going to be a 2-putt or something, 2-3 putt, I'm like, okay, I finally made it to the green. Now I'm going to pick it up and I'll hold the flag for you. I'll become everybody else's caddy.
Can you imagine the guys, the foursome behind Chad Ramey? I mean, they're like,
dude, clean it up,
bro. We're all waiting. Like, it's time to get off the course. We need to get. I'm hungry. I got to pick my kids up from school. Like, it's like I saw that and I was like,
fire a warning shot up there. Yeah.
Exactly. Give him a little 4 and like shoot one. To say, listen, you got to get off the course 3 times in the water. 3 times in the water. It's over. Just walk off the course with your dignity. Try to keep your dignity intact. Plus 13.
Good luck. Yeah, professional golfer.
A professional golfer with a plus 13. Are you going golfing this weekend?
No, probably not. I haven't had time. Graduations, trying to recover. Doing stuff. But no, yeah.
Well, next time you get out there, please don't post a plus 13. You're going to ruin our reputation.
I won't. I only post my Eagles. That's it.
That's right. Exactly. All right, Blummer, any final thoughts going into this weekend? I mean, 3 games still against the Angels. It's still a big series, I think.
No, it's a big series. The Astros play well against the Angels. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun watching Framber and Shohei get after it again. But I just hope that with this warm weather and, the situation that the Astros are in, hopefully they can continue to run down the Texas Rangers, who are absolutely in fuego.
Oh, my God. The Rangers, what is the deal with their hitting? I mean,
try and find out. I don't know.
Oh, God. Somebody go up there and, poison their water or something. Do something. No, don't poison their water. That's a joke. Actually, you know what you could do? Maybe we need to lighten their bats a little. Like, tweak their bats a little.
Donut on. Slow them down.
Man, anything to slow those guys. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with a fresh pod brought to you by Bet Online. Again, a big thanks to all of you guys for listening all across the world. I saw the other day we're on the charts in quite a few countries around the world, including Austria, Australia, Great Britain, a few others.
The Hills are alive with Believe in Astros.
Very well played, my friend. Excellent. You guys are great, liking and subscribing and commenting, obviously. Huge thanks. Also, have a great weekend and happy Pride Month to all my many friends who are celebrating. And we will see you next week. And as always, go Astros.